Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Moving to Texas team down here in Houston, Texas, with my good friend Stephen Kim Holmes out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We are here for another episode of the Real Advice Podcast. I am super pumped today to dig in with our guest this week. He is currently located in the Northwest Florida area. If you don't know where that is, it's kind of the Panhandle area. He serves as the Chief Growth Officer for Berkshire Hathaway, HomeServices Beach Properties of Florida. That's a mouthful. Serving over 225 agents. I initially met our guest through the Inman community, where I feel that he's always such a great resource for the community. He always is providing real estate tips, best practices, and just really great tactical advice. So I am pumped for today because I know that we're going to dig into tactical and operational stuff for you to grow your business this year and beyond. Please join me in welcoming my good friend, Jimmy Burgess. What's going on?
Doing great, Katie. Thanks for having me, guys. I mean, this is going to be fun.
I'm
every
excited.
single time we've done something, Katie, I mean, we've done just a couple things. I've walked away from there being like, man, I just need to do more stuff with Katie. She's got to get home. So I appreciate the invitation. I'm looking forward to this.
I appreciate
Jimmy,
that,
I feel
man.
that way all the time. Every Wednesday, I feel.
Yeah. How lucky are you? See, I mean, come on, man.
I know, right?
Here, right?
Don't let Steve like lie to you, Jimmy. Like, so Steve and I met each other, basically like via social media, right? And then like at Tom Ferry Summit a couple years back, we like saw each other in the gym and had one of those like awkward, like, I think we know each other moments, you know?
Dude,
and
it was not awkward. We were running at each other.
That's why it was so awkward for everyone else. So anyway, so like, you know, okay, we meet each other, whatever, we become good friends. We have this rapport. And I have basically had to beg him to do a podcast with me. I'm like, we have this rapport. We make fun of each other. We like banter back and forth. We're good with questions. Like, can we do this? And like, it took me probably, what would you say, Steve, 6 months to 8 months to get him to commit?
Because you're Katie Day. Because you're Katie Day. All right, let's get right into it. So
it's working though, Steve. Let me just say this: it's working. I really dove in. I had listened to some, but I just spent the last week really diving into some of y'all's interviews. And wow, I mean, what a great group of guests and insights y'all have been gathering. I mean, this is the beauty of podcasts.
Yeah,
we ever lived in a better time than we live right now. I mean, literally, the access to the best of the best is so available, and so. Thank y'all. I mean, the last week y'all have made my my stupid treadmill time way easier. Y'all made my drive time easier. So, you know, thank you, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know. Terrible time. I'm glad that you still decided to come on, because if that were me and I had to like listen to, you know, someone doing cardio, I'd probably hate them. So, you know, I'm glad that you still popped in here. All right. So let's walk through, you know, kind of your life story. No, not your life story. How'd you get into real estate? Kind of where'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so I actually kind of grew up in this. Both of my parents, after they got divorced when I was a teenager, my dad moved about an hour away from where we were, and both of them opened real estate companies, which is crazy to think about. So literally, like, I just kind of grew up, you know, at open houses, I guess you could say. It didn't matter where I was. And so I went off to college. I was like, I'm not doing that, you know. And so I went and got started with Merrill Lynch as a stockbroker. And about a year into wearing a tie, I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. You know what I mean? And so my brother was graduating from school. We both came back. We started in real estate with my mom's company, helped them grow that. And we went through this time. We were in a very rural market at that time. And this is back before there were teams, I guess. I mean, what's crazy is I've been doing this 27 years, well over half my life, which seems crazy. But when my brother and I started this, you know, I have this cool thing, y'all, where I've got this magazine cover from like 1990 something. It's like me with a full head of hair, you know, and it's like they're, you know, on Florida Realtor magazine, it's like they're young, they're savvy, and they're in it for the long run. And I was like, well, they got one of them right. But I mean, so we go through this, you know, this boom of this real estate market, you know, and really, I mean, we were the old school, started building a team with just he and I and his wife as our as basically just our admin, and, you know, did like 119 transactions in 1998 with the two of us. in a little small town. And the crazy thing is though, I went back and looked, and because it has it in the article, and I saw this, I pulled the magazine when we were moving a couple months ago, and it says that we did a grand total of $8.2 million with 119 transactions, y'all. Come on. You talk about burnout. I mean, I was like, what are we doing here? So this leads to, basically being like rethinking this whole deal. Taking a job, I guess you could say, as a commercial lender with a bank. And let me just say this, that was the first time I'd ever been on salary. That's not for me either. I was like, I've always been the believer that, first off, I'm probably not gonna be the smartest one in the room, but you aren't gonna outwork me. So I had this thing where I always wanted to turn the locks. I still to this day, it's so sickening, where I want to turn the locks of the office or turn them at night when I'm the last one leaving or either the first one there, because I know that I'm not being outworked, I guess you could say. So I went to work at the bank, and they're like, hey, we're off on Monday for Lincoln's birthday. And I was like, what are we talking about, y'all? And so about a year after that, the real estate market starts taking off. And I was just at a place where I was like, you know what, I really, feel like I'm supposed to be in real estate. That's where I'm good at it. I love people. It's kind of what I grew up doing. And so this is right as the market's taking off. And at that time, I got back into real estate, left the bank. And you're talking about 2002-3 timeframe. The real estate market at that point is hockey sticking. I mean, it is growing like crazy. So I come in there, and now I'm back there, and I've had a year away from this. I've shifted from that rural market down to the coastal market, which is booming at that time in our area. And all of a sudden, within, leaving the bank, I went to, within just a few months, I was making monthly what I was making at the bank, to then within a few more months, within a year and a half, I'm making more in a week than I was making at the bank on a weekly basis. Wow. But you got to understand, I'm 34 years old, man. I got this all figured out. You know what I mean? It was all about me. I'm mine. And so here's what happens, though. When that happens, your ego and your pride makes you make decisions where you think you're smarter than you are. And the market was making me look a lot smarter than I was. So consequently, the downturn happens. Well, you got to understand, when things go up very quickly, they can also come down very quickly. That's what we saw in the market. That's what I saw in my personal business. And so here we are after making, over $1 million a year selling real estate in 2005. In 2009, I'm sitting in bankruptcy court with $500 in my name. And I'm just literally at a place where I literally am thinking, what in the world just happened? I mean, how could I put my family in this position? How could I put myself in this position? And you go through something like that, and you go through 3 years of it unwinding. It wasn't like it happened overnight. I mean, this is a struggle, and it affects you not just financially, physically, relationally. And then I wake up and I'm looking around, I'm like, man, my wife is still here. She meant it when she said better or worse, rich or poor, health. And so all of a sudden I started realizing what was important. And then I began to get to a place where I realized that, you know what, why did I have the success? I began to track back. Why did it begin to take off? And ultimately, when I first started having the success back again, was when I realized that it wasn't even about me. That bottom line, I was driving around, and if you've ever been in this situation, I would get in my car because the stress was so high. The phone would ring at my office, and I knew it was bill collectors that I didn't have an answer for. I mean, to be honest, and that pain, and it's like you get punched in the stomach. I would get in my car back in the day and plug these CDs into my car and just drive around. And one day I was, just trying to begin to focus on flooding my mind with positivity again. And if y'all have ever heard, there's this speaker that has this big booming voice, Les Brown. It's like an old black preacher. And he comes on one day, and I got in my car literally at the breaking point where I'm like, look, I don't know how much more I can handle this stress. You know what I mean? And he comes on there, and his first words out of his mouth, I will never forget it, were, your struggle has not come to stay, it's come to pass. And it was like it hit my soul. And I was like, man, you're sitting in this. You're focusing on what's going on with you instead of getting out there and helping some people, which is what you did when you began to take off. Yeah. Let's get back to focusing on helping people. And first off, what it does is it flips your mind where you're not always thinking about yourself and your own problems. And you begin to focus on how I can help other people. It distracts you from the stress, and it also gives you a purpose. So all of a sudden now we go through that. I go through the bankruptcy, and literally within a year, my business began to just bloom again. my life began to bloom again. And what I realized is thinking back now is that the very thing that I thought would be the worst thing could happen to me, which was that financial bankruptcy, losing everything worldly, that I could have, was really the best thing ever happened to me, because now I had a new focus. Now I knew that my job ultimately was to serve other people. And so when I got focused back on serving other people, that's when things began to boom. Now I'm building my business, I'm going through this, and all of a sudden, after being through all of these things, about 3 years ago, now about 3.5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I always loved teaching. I always loved being around other agents, and I just don't want what I went through to be in vain. So I took a group of 10 agents in our office and basically said, look, we're going to do a mastermind. I'm going to meet with you once a week. I'm going to have something I'm going to teach you that I've learned, and I want you to apply some things, and I'm going to hold you accountable for some things. And all of a sudden we look up, and 8 weeks later, 8 of the 10 that were in that group that were active by the time we got to the 8 weeks, those 8 of those 10 had already either gone under contract or had closed more business than they did the year previous. And I was like, wait a minute, we might have something here, And so we began to work, and I began to look, and I shifted into this position, which now I got the best job in the world, because literally all I got to do is wake up and just help our agents just figure out how they can build a business of their dreams. What can I do to help them?
Yeah.
What can I do with the experiences I've had? So that's a long way to get here, I guess you could say. But what I have found is that my passion is serving other people. And bottom line is, man, I get way more juice now at helping other agents or shooting a video that might help some agent. If I get a text, and I know y'all get these too, I get a text or an email from somebody in wherever, South Dakota, that says, hey, I saw your video and I ended up getting 2 listens. I can't thank you enough. We're going to take our family vacation on this. Come on, y'all. How does it get any better than that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, long answer. I'll stop there, but that's how I got here.
No, I appreciate that. So one of the many things, but one of the things that really resonated with me is kind of, the hockey stick of the market. What comes up does come down. I want to preface my statement by saying I do not think that the market's going to crash. We're in a very good market now. There are many differences between now and 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we are in a very good market where a lot of agents have seen a lot of success and had their best year ever in 2020 and 2021. Some of it is skill, some of it is the market, right? Yep. As we start to see market compression, as we start to see less inventory, or still less inventory, as we start to see things starting to change by way of the market, what are some tactical things that you think agents should be doing over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months to slow proof their business?
I'm gonna start with personal, if that's okay, Katie.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go into strategically on the business side. Okay. First off, if you are in this business right now and you have been working at all, you've made more money than you ever have.
Yeah.
Build a financial fortress. Put cash away. Cash is not just king. Cash creates opportunity. And I'll tell you what happened with me is I was like, look, I mean, we're playing with house money now. I'm all in, and I just kept, reinvesting everything and not scraping anything away. And all of a sudden, when it does slow down, you don't have that ability. Now's the time, in my opinion, to decrease debt, not take on new debt. Now's the time to put more cash away than you ever have. Because let me tell you what happens. I'm like you, Kate. This is not the same market. But I will say this. I don't know when, but it would be naive to think that the market doesn't shift at some point. So how are you going to prepare for that? So from that standpoint, let's say this market rips for another 2 years and you've put more cash away than you ever have had. You win. Let me tell you what happens if this thing pulls back and you've put more cash away. Now you've created an opportunity when everybody else needs that cash to build generational wealth, because you are the one sitting there that is prepared for the storm and has the ability to literally, in some cases, throw life preservers to other people that literally set your generations up to come. So that's personal. Okay. Now let me go strategically on the business side, because this is what I love to talk about, because these are the mistakes. I'm not speaking. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm not a professor. I'm not going to speak from any kind of place of theory. This is going to be what I know that I know, because I've experienced it. Okay. So here's where I made the mistakes when the market was really good. The market was really good. The business was coming pretty quick. And what I did was I was constantly in the mode of next transaction, next listing, next buyer, next opportunity. I was constantly moving from one place to the next. And I never took the time to build the relationships at a depth that would carry me and them through any changes in the market. If I could go back, I believe this on my heart, with 2003 and 4. And first off, the first thing I would do is I would punch 34-year-old me in the face for being an idiot. But the second thing I would do is I would say, hey, man, you've been blessed with all of these opportunities to build relationships. Your job is not to go to the next transaction. If you will go deeper with the ones you got, I promise you they're going to take you wide. So focus on those relationships now more than ever. When it's easy not to focus on the relationships and move on to the next transactions, spend an extra 10 minutes with people. Show the gratitude you have for them being in their business. Let me give you one quick tip, because I think now's the ideal time to do that. I've been doing this 4 or 5 years, because you got to understand, when you come out of something like I did, you don't forget it. You know, I mean, my head is literally, man, I don't even know I got a neck. I'm just on a swivel, you know what I mean, watching to see if something's changing. But one of the things that I did when I'm focusing on relationships, and people can apply right now, is, and it doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but I'm going to give you this because as we're recording this, Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Take out your phone on Thanksgiving morning. Think about the people that have impacted your business this past year. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving morning. You can do this any morning of any day of the year. I did it on Thanksgiving morning because it was just easy for me. I'm in the South. You know what I do on Thanksgiving morning? My job is to fry the turkey. You know what I'm saying? I fry that turkey. So when I go out back in the mornings to fry the turkey for the family, what I did is I sat there and I thought about the people I was thankful for, the people that had impacted my business, sent me a referral, trusted me with the biggest asset in their life. And I genuinely wanted to say thank you, because where I come from, honor is not given unless it's spoken. And so what I did is I took my phone out and I literally just selfied up on this thing. And I just said, hey, it's Jimmy. It's Thanksgiving morning. I'm out here frying this turkey, turned it around and showed it to him. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting here thinking about all the people that I'm thankful for this year that have made an impact in my life. And you immediately came to my mind. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your friendship, your relationship, and the trust you've placed in me. And I hope this is your best Thanksgiving ever, and you're getting to spend it with friends and family surrounding you, and that this next year will be the best year you've ever had in your life. Again, thanks for all you do for me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bing, text. Let me just say this. If you'll do that to 20 people, you can't fathom what it does. And I'm not talking about for relationships and business. I'm talking about what it will do for you. Because all of a sudden, whatever we focus on expands. If you're focused on saying thank you to people, you're going to find more people that are going to give you a reason for you to be thankful for them. So it's just a matter of doing those things. So structurally, as far as your business, with a shifting market happening, and don't be naive, it's happening. If a shifting, now I don't know what it looks like, but it's shifting. Now is the time to just double down on building relationships, saying thank you, having those client appreciation opportunities that you get to really drive home the value and how much you appreciate those folks. They'll take you wide if you'll just go deep with them.
Jimmy, you're like the epitome of like impact. So in real estate, so many of our agents get into this industry because of income, right? But to live a rewarding and fulfilling life, it's about impact over income all of the time. And you are like kind of the quintessential, this beacon of light in this industry, because what you just shared right now about Thanksgiving is living in abundance. Like, you want to be happy in your life. Your goal should be to try and have an impact and make other people happy. Right? So if you're kind of like, I'm not a happy person, I don't know how to be happy. Well, you know what? Be grateful for first the opportunity, but start spreading that love for other people. Watch how happy you end up becoming, right? Which is, that's bang on, man. That's
let me just say this. Don't get me wrong. We're all in this business to make a living.
Yeah.
What I found though is when I focus on the relationships, the money comes with less volatility than it does otherwise. You can grunt this out. I did it. I'll promise you, I've worn the phone out. You know what I mean? I've been in the grind. I mean, that's when I built my business, was just literally, prospecting for 2 to 3 hours a day. That's how I built my business. And there is a time and a place for everything. When you're starting out, work-life balance, I'm just going to be real. If you're really wanting to do this in this business, work-life balance is a fallacy.
Yes.
If you're going to build a business that is going to be above average, you're going to have certain times, not forever, that you're going to have some imbalance in your life. Now, the object is to get back and find what is your rhythm. What is it that works for you? But the way you're going to find that is by taking massive action. So don't mishear what I'm saying. Ultimately, you got to do the work. But what's great about coming from a place of gratitude is you get to do the work with people that make you want to do more work. And your vibe absolutely attracts your tribe. So be out there just spreading whatever it is that's your message, and I promise you're going to find the right people.
Love it.
So speaking of people, I know that you interview a lot of agents, you work with a ton of agents. What would you say are maybe like the one or two key things that are like a common thread amongst like top producers or people that you interview and talk to?
Discipline. Katie, I mean, obviously we're friends on social media. I see it. I mean, what are you on, like workout 474 for 200 days into the season? Come on. But am I wrong? I mean, listen, the most productive people I know not just in this business.
Steve likes that one. Steve really likes that one.
I got you, didn't I, Katie? I know. Appreciate it. But think about it. I mean, literally, they're disciplined in every area of their life, and it spills over into their business. They're disciplined on building relationships. They're disciplined on having a time blocked where they're making phone calls every day. They're disciplined on setting appointments. They're disciplined on keeping track of their goals. And what the discipline does is it gives us the ability, because listen, there are days when we don't want to do this. And the bottom line is the difference between the people that have success in this business is they're disciplined enough. They have a habit pattern that is so natural that even when they wake up and they want to do it, they realize it's 11 o'clock and they've worked out, they've eaten correctly, and they've made calls. And they're like, God, I didn't even want to do this today, but here it is. It's noon. And I've done what most people don't do all week, Yeah. So I think the discipline is the biggest thing, and persistence. I mean, I just think that if you think that you're going to come into this business and it's all going to be roses, that would be naive. There are going to be obstacles. I almost feel like this business acts kind of like life, where it's like, oh, are you serious about this? I'm going to test you. Let me throw this. Let me throw lender saying they can't close on the day before closing. Let me throw this at you that your best friend just listed their house with somebody else. Let me throw this at you that person you've been showing 12 houses to walked into an open house and wrote the contract with somebody else. This business will test you to see if you have the persistence and what you're trying to do is big enough for you to get past those obstacles. So persistence and also being someone of discipline, I think, are some of the biggest attributes we see.
That's crazy. I love that. Jimmy, what might be one or two books that you recommend all agents read, regardless of where they are in their career, whether you're 1 year, 10 year, 100 years, I don't care. It's the one or two books that every agent should read.
Yeah. It all depends on what you're trying to do. For me, like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I know it's a classic. It's been around forever.
That's a good one.
It's so fundamentally strong for every area of your life. If you're looking to build a team, I mean, let's be real. I mean, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent is the model. I mean, it's hard to beat that. There's so many different things that are out there. I'm in this consuming mode for books right now. So I'm going to give you something that's just interesting to me, that just I'm in the middle of right now because it's 2 days out, is Will Smith's book, Will, is such an amazing book to me from a standpoint of giving you the ability to understand the psychology of success. And I don't even know that was what he was going for, but maybe that's just the way I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
I'm about a quarter of a way through this thing, and he's diving into all of the things that happened in his childhood that led him to want to entertain, that led him to being the funny guy in the room, and why that pain turned to production. I mean, it's an interesting book. I know that's sidetracked from what you were asking.
No, not one bit.
There's so many of these. I just read a great book called I Love It Here. And it's a book about creating a culture for team leaders or for broker owners or for, folks that are in my position that lead larger groups, of just basically focusing on what is it that the biggest and best organizations do to create cultures where people are excited to be there, and it creates this environment. So I know that's a bunch, but man, I'm trying to consume a book a week right now. And listen, it's not like I'm a reader. I'm an audiobook person.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Absolutely. I just, and here's something that's bad, y'all. I'm gonna be a little transparent here. And obviously, listen, I've got a foundation of faith. So I mean, the principles in the Bible obviously play in my life. But let me just say this: I listen to Audible at 1.5 speed. I don't know if anybody else does this.
Same.
I listen to it at 1.5 speed, and just because for whatever reason, if I don't listen to it like that, it's like I'm so ADHD that I'm forgetting and I'm not hearing it. So I'm going through these things, and I was just going through I was listening to another book, and it was like, I'm constantly trying to fight the fact that I move from one thing to the next very quickly. You know what I mean? And trying to be more present with everybody I'm with. And so I'm listening to something the other day and I'm listening to and basically what I was doing, I was listening to Proverbs, like these, principles have been around forever. And I'm listening to it 1.5. And I was like, and all of a sudden it was like my conscience says, you don't even have time to slow down and listen to this right. And I was like, dang, you know what I mean? So I think obviously finding something that really hits with you with one of these books or podcasts, man, I consume podcasts like crazy. I love what y'all are doing. I mean, there's so many Ferry stuff is just amazing. I mean, so yeah, I just think being a consumer and somebody that just consumes knowledge. I've always said, I can't, with me and with y'all, the way that you pour into other agents, I can't pour into somebody out of an empty bucket. So what I've found is the best place that I can come from is a bucket that is overflowing. And out of that I'm so full, that I'm just getting fed so much that it just out of that overflow is what's spilling over and hopefully helping other people.
I also listen to podcasts and audibles at 1.5. Depending on how slowly or quickly the reader reads, sometimes I can get up to 1.75, but it's definitely like an acquired thing. And I think, I forget who, I think it was Tom Bilyeu was the one that I had heard that from, where he was like, I don't listen to anything at 1. Like I don't have enough time in the day for that. That's bullshit basically. Yeah. But, whenever I listen to things, like say I don't have my AirPods and I'm just listening to it on my phone or on the speaker, like my husband's just like, why is this person screaming at you? Like, because it goes so fast, So I always think that's funny.
Yeah. That's
what would be the number one thing that you would tell a brand new agent with no budget to do on a daily basis?
Just figure out how to have as many real estate related conversations as possible. Whatever that means. If they're broke and they can't buy leads, I built a lot of my business door knocking. Listen, I know we're in that environment where you're going to surprise people in some places in the country. But I'm just telling you, I mean, I've always been a person that thinks if I can get in front of somebody, I'm going to find my people. There's going to be certain people that my energy, my accent, it's going to turn some people off. That's fine. That's the square pegs I don't need to put in my round hole anyway. But if I get in front of enough people, if I have enough conversations, I'm going to find, I call them OKP, our kind of people. I'm going to find my kind of people that I can serve, that I've been put here to serve. And when I do that, so whatever that looks like, I did it with circle prospecting when I didn't have any money. I always say it's sweat or debt. I did it with door knocking, open houses for agents that are listing agents, just building those relationships and being able to sit at open houses. Whatever you can do to get in front of people, do that. And if you do that and you continue to build a database where you continuously and consistently add value to those folks, it's not a matter of if, it's just when your business is going to blow up.
I love that. I think that those are great nuggets for everyone. And I think it's a good reminder, no matter how many years you've been in the business, that's a good refresher. So that's awesome. Jimmy, we're going to end off the podcast with a question that stumps them all. And it is this, Jimmy, it is your last meal on earth.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What is it? Whether it's a home cooked meal or you're going out to buy it. What is that meal and why?
So check this out. Where I grew up, my best friend, we were Robin Big before there was a Robin Big. If y'all know what Robin Big is.
I don't know what that is. I'm up in Canada.
Let me just say this. So this was a TV show. I'll give you the scenario. I was the small guy on all the athletic teams. And my best friend growing up was Dexter. His mom was Big Mom in town. He had 17 brothers and sisters. And we literally, in this little small town, grew up on different sides of the railroad track, literally. But we were great friends through high school. Then we were really good friends through college. Now he's got obviously a bunch of nephews and his family's still in this area. He is now in Green Bay after he played in the NFL. He's still up in Green Bay and a principal up there. But when I was growing up, and then through the time, because he lived with me the 5 years that he was in the NFL during the off season, we would go up to my little small town to his family reunion. Now, let me just say this. First off, you could have dropped an A-bomb up there and I might have been the only white guy to die, which was fine with me. But we would be at this family reunion. And it was so great. I mean, literally, this was like, if I'm going to die tomorrow, I want to go to that family reunion. They had a cousin that was a DJ. They had one of the brothers who was older, was the one that sat at the grill. He cooked ribs and chicken basically all day. Everybody brought something, so I mean, we had sweet potato pies. I literally got a text from Dexter's sister today. She said, "Hey, I'm coming down your way this week. Can I bring you a sweet potato pie and a 7-layer cake?" And I said, "Shut your mouth. I'll drive to if you need, I can get it." So that if I had my last meal, it would be those ribs and chicken. It would be that 7-layer chocolate cake, that sweet potato pie, and then we would, with a full stomach, walk around my thighs out of that dance floor and just do something. You know what I mean? That would be y'all can have me after that. I'm out. I'm fine. If I'm going out, that's the way I want to go out.
That is an epic meal, epic story. I love that. I think that's amazing. I think that is so amazing. Jimmy, we just want to say thank you so much for sharing your incredible time with us. You are the real deal, an incredible human being with a phenomenal story. You inspired us. You made us laugh. You just are just such an abundance of gratitude and learning. You're an incredible human being, a phenomenal realtor. I'm just so happy you were able to share time with us. For those people who don't know where to go find about Jimmy Burgess, where should they go? What social media platform, website? Share it now.
Yeah, I mean, what's been fun is I started doing these videos for just our agents, and I put them on YouTube, and all of a sudden it just started catching on, and it was affecting and helping some agents around. Now we're at over 250 videos on the YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube and pull up Jimmy Burgess, there's about 250 there. Also, now we're at about over 100 podcast episodes at the Real Estate Sales Podcast, where I interview agents and just give some tips there. And then just, if you go to Instagram, you can find me there as well. But yeah, I just really appreciate everybody, checking that stuff out. I love the feedback. I mean, that's what I get, where I get my juice. So thank y'all for having me today. I really appreciate y'all as well.
Amazing, amazing, Jimmy. Have a fantastic. Sorry, Katie, you go. You had it.
Have a fantastic day, rest of the year. Thank you so much. Steve likes to talk over me. So.
Love you, Jimmy. Have a great one.
Thanks, y'all.